Nevertheless, we still have this gem. Teacher gets taught a lesson by bad babysitter. Tyrone Lincoln, resident bad boy of the school, an 18-year-old football star, and one of the few black kids in the school. Mr. Popularity. Well, she was tired of his antics, and she was here to make sure he wasn't going to just try to slide by on his football prowess. You stick it, bitch. He grinned and pushed his massive black as he felt his teacher's hands massaging his He reached down and continued to loving how firm and full they felt behind the blouse. His hands began ripping off the blouse, open when he was done with her mouth. I love it when you white bitches know what I love. Tyrone laughed as she He gave a few ample
not
jugs,
gonna,
getting a feel for
we're not gonna,
as he looked down at it.
Banana Bear Show.
Little education for the people out there. I used to review comic books.
Yes, you did.
I used to, get paid for it.
Yes,
and the
you did.
one person that everyone's like, well, this guy, he reviews comics and all that stuff. He was well known. He wasn't liked by a lot of people.
Huh.
In my opinion, I didn't hate him.
Okay.
I thought his creative usage of certain things were stupid.
Okay.
He was trying to be the guy with the glasses, the nostalgic critic, but with comic books, and I thought it wasn't a good blend. But he was introducing comics to people, but it was older comics, it wasn't newer ones.
Okay.
So it was kind of different.
Right.
However, our boy Medicare, he did a documentation about all the people in a great website that used to be around. I think it's not around anymore, called That Guy with the Glasses. And I wanted to pick one of the best videos he made out of it, talking about the guy from atop the fourth wall, Linkara.
Part of the problem is that a lot of companies don't trust online advertising, partially because of ad blocks. However, there are ways around that.
Turn off that pesky ad block. Turn off that pesky ad block. Turn off that pesky ad block. Turn off that pesky ad block.
What is he saying?
Look at that fun.
Turn off that pesky ad block.
Uh-huh.
So, little something.
Uh-huh.
That guy with the glasses, they used another streaming thing. God, I'm trying to remember what it was. It's not around anymore, but you used to get paid per view, but you would have to it would have to be put on another website. So it would be like YouTube, but it would have the pre-roll ads and all that stuff. But you get it automatically without a partnership, and they take a percentage out. Now, this didn't really work unless you had a popular website. And That Guy with the Glasses, nostalgic critic, was really big. Along with another guy named Spoony One. Do you remember him?
No.
Okay. He was a video game guy. Or Angry Joe.
Yeah, Angry Joe, yeah.
Yeah. Out of all of them, Angry Joe's the one that he lived through it. That, and there was a guy named Cinema Snob, but I haven't watched his stuff recently, but I know he's still around. But they were all on this website, and it generated a lot of views because the Nostalgia Critic was on there. And on top of that, you could, go watch these other guys. Linkara was one of the secondhand people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And near the end, because revenue was coming off because you had ad block that you could block the ads. That meant these people weren't getting paid.
Right. And was it Blip you were talking about earlier?
Blip, yes.
Yeah.
Fine fedora. That is a tribble that tells you entertainment is on.
And also, he sounded like this.
Its way. When you sit down for a atop the fourth wall video, you know you are guaranteed to see a comic book be lambasted, torn to ribbons. What Doug did for movies and Spoony did for video games, Lewis does with comic books. And it's his insights and analysis of those comic books, which has helped to grow his subscribers and his view count as the years have gone on. One of the things you're going to start to notice, especially in this episode when you compare it to the last two, is common threads and themes start to emerge between the content creators that are featured heavily on That Guy with the Glasses. One of those major themes we're really going to see play itself out here is always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Or to think of it another way, it's easier to destroy something than it is to create it. In regards to Noah, when given the opportunity,
That Smoothie one.
Lewis, on the other hand, did the opposite of what Spoonie and Doug did. Rather than establish himself first and then afterwards go on to pursue his goals and his ambitions, he tried to create before he critiqued. And that is perhaps the greatest irony of all, that the man so well known online for tearing apart crappy, terrible comics is himself responsible for creating one of the worst webcomics that has ever existed.
I'm looking for plot holes. I'm looking for bizarre character motivations. I'm looking for terrible artwork.
Need to see this to believe it is real. Our story begins in Faro City, a municipality so poor they can't even afford line divisions in their parking lots. It's like a Escher painting, fuck it. We have bigger things to worry about here than the commuters. And within Faro City exists our protagonist, doing his day job, which is the typical day job of a character within a superhero comic, running a furniture store. Because hey, everybody needs a Davenport. You're going to want to lay down if you walk around outside. And don't even get me started on trying to find a parking spot.
How do you like this so far, Mikey?
This one's pretty good. This is a lot.
Oh, it gets better.
Wow.
You don't know.
Our main character has a 100% original, do not steal background story. His parents were tragically murdered in front of him in an alley at night. I've never heard of that before. That is amazing. I can't believe no other comic book has ever thought to do that as a motivation for why you might become a superhero. Hope business treats you well, Granholm. After all, you gotta pay me back by Friday. You see this nutty bitch? I found her on the street taking shits in people's yards, so I put her in a chain like a dog. I don't know who she is. She's absolutely nuttabuttas. Yes, this dangerous group of thugs that lurks the streets at night, that stick up innocent business owners who are just looking to sell you a decent couch at a reasonable price, go by the name The Slavers. The Slavers. The people walking around with women in chains through the street in broad daylight, holding up small businesses, call themselves the Slavers. And apparently that's cool with the people in Faro City. It's a weird place. It's a really weird place to live. But the Slavers have made a critical mistake. They've been picking on a crippled man. Oh, what's the matter there, Granholm? Your hand is shaking like crazy. I don't even know what's going on. Is that like a tick? Do you have Tourette's syndrome? Did you fuck a microwave? Why is it glowing white like that? That's really weird. That's weirder than the lady that shits in people's lawns. But as it turns out, Granholm doesn't have Tourette's and he didn't fuck a microwave. He actually has hidden superpowers.
Oh,
he can
no.
turn light solid and create constructs. Another original idea that nobody has ever done before. I mean, look at him there, dressed in all green, with his glowing hand, capable of creating constructs out of solid light.
Oh,
now,
no.
if I were as talented as Linkara, I would have tried to come up with a name that really captured that, but I'm not. You know, he came up with the Lightbringer. I would have gone with, I don't know, combine the color with what it does, a green lantern. You know, but again, I'm not the OC creator here. What the heck do I know? With such amazing superpowers, you can imagine what our protagonist does when he finally realizes he needs to use his powers for good and happens upon a woman being attacked in an alleyway. He runs away. I ran as quickly as I could after I saw it. I was almost hyperventilating as I tried to push the screams for help from my mind. No matter how far I ran, they were always there, scratching at the back of my thoughts and overwhelming my reason and sanity. Damn it, why do I have to have these abilities? I never wanted them, and I sure as hell can't do anything useful with them. I ran as quickly as I could back to my apartment and gasped for breath during the entire run. My body ached. It wasn't used to the sudden jolts like this, but I knew I had to get off the streets, get away from the screams. But as I ran from the woman and her screams, a new voice entered my mind. The voice was of my mother, telling me how one should never fight evil with violence, since it only fueled the evil and made it stronger. So just to sum up to this point, in case you're just joining us right now, In Pharaoh City, there is a man that owns a furniture shop who can create objects out of solid light.
Yep, Green
And
Lantern.
when he comes across a woman being in an alleyway, he decides to run home as the
So far, so good, huh?
So it's Spider-Man, Green Lantern, goofiness.
Yes.
such a way into their own comic book. What does that remind me of? Terrible dialogue, atrocious artwork, empty one-dimensional characters, ridiculous premise and behaviors, and self-insertion in your own fanfic. It's right there. I can almost touch it. But nope, it's just...
It's in the tip of your tongue. What this reminds him of. A guy we haven't talked about.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't quite pin it down. Now, the early response to Lightbringer was less than enthusiastic. You could say it was not the positive reception that Linkara was hoping to receive. In fact, if you were to go look at TV tropes, under horrible webcomics, Lightbringer has its very own listing. But Lewis took to his forums to talk about a brand new idea he had. That idea being atop the fourth wall. And everybody seemed pleased with how it turned out in the end. It's 0.6 points ahead of Catwoman. So he's beating at least one major Hollywood picture to the kind of film that you're watching.
So I'm kind of skipping over some things.
What are we skipping over?
The top fourth wall.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
Well, it was a comic book where he...
Lewis outside the door muttering, uncivilized, pathetic.
Maybe we should try to be more enlightened about this.
So because of that, I would like to share just a couple of the stories of Linkara.
Okay, so basically he did a show called Top the Fourth Wall. He made fun of comic books and did little skits with it, kind of like Nostalgia Critic with comics, right?
With Nostalgia Critic with movies.
Yeah.
So
they were doing like anniversary specials. So they would like, fly to Chicago, all that stuff. And during this time, people were like, really like, Linkara was such a fucking dick to people.
Okay.
Because he was a stickler.
That have led to some fairly popular image macros. To give you some context and backstory to why those jokes exist in the first place. The following are snippets of interactions that happened while filming with Linkara. They are from people that say that they knew him or worked with him, and these are the interactions that Linkara claims are possible. They could have happened, he just doesn't know. At a convention, on break, talking with fellow employees about a girl I liked at the time who also happens to be an employee. Lewis comes up and hovers. He does this a lot. He'll stand by a conversation but not engage. After a while, he finally chimes in.
You shouldn't objectify women like that.
I'm not.
Then why are you talking about her?
Because she's employed, and I don't know our policy for that.
Well, perhaps we need a tighter policy for those of us who would try to objectify our staff openly.
Lewis, chill. Lewis, for fuck's sake.
I'm just saying, maybe we shouldn't make the women feel uncomfortable. Maybe we should try to be more enlightened about this.
Heading down to the bar, chilling with people down there for a little while. Doug comes down.
Doug is the Nostalgia Critic.
Look, I'm only coming down because Lewis wants me to. Oh, well, I don't really know. I guess just talk to you. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, look, just stay for his scenes, and if he asks, I yelled at you both, okay? Yep. Walking back up to the room, Linkara is standing outside our fucking door.
So, did you learn your lesson?
I start cracking up and had to leave. Hear Brad just ripping into him before leaving. I can still hear Lewis outside the door muttering, uncivilized, pathetic, etc., etc. He's butthurt for the next 3 days. So not only does Linkara acknowledge that these very well could have happened, when you think back to part 1 with Abby in the comment section of his Lightbringer comics, talking about how Lewis had gone up to her friends that he didn't even know, and talked about her in particular not liking him and how awkward and weird that is, it seems to mesh really well with the kind of stories in his awkward social presentation at gatherings with multiple people. So when you see images like this, and like this, that's where they're coming from. They're actual things that he said and done when he's interacting with other people. In that voice, that voice that he does, just imagine that. Just imagine him standing outside your door to chastise you because you've gone to have a beer and talk to a girl. Now, perhaps it was because he was always on set so much, filming those videos for the Nostalgia Critic and doing the That Guy with the Glasses anniversary specials. But eventually, Lewis was bitten by the movie bug himself. and ended up putting up an Indiegogo campaign to create his very own movie, of which he raised $60,000. He asked for 40. He ended up getting 60 grand to make the Linkara movie. Now, I could try to summarize the entire plot of the film for you, but I think it's just easier to give you a general idea of what we're talking about. The rating for this movie, for the Atop the Fourth Wall, the Linkara movie, on IMDb right now is a 3.9. Now, to give you some comparison, Catwoman with Halle Berry is rated at a 3.3. So technically, Linkara's movie is a half a point better than Catwoman. That should give you some perspective onto the kind of film that you're watching. And generally, to be honest, what you're going to find is pretty much similar to the anniversary special videos. Granted, filmed on something that wasn't a potato. It's filmed on something that actually looks HD, but still pretty tacky, full of skits, full of secondary characters, a ham-fisted plot. It's your traditional online critic movie.
Its speedy arrival is thanks to the development of the Mac fail drive.
God, do you remember the anniversary specials for
No,
the guy with glasses?
I didn't watch this guy at all.
I mean, because BKBN, the site we were a part of, we took some initiative from that guy with glasses,
right,
to make a website.
Yeah,
Drive, which
they just went downhill.
Speed. Development of the Mac fail
Which is
drive was
a
made
video
possible
altogether
thanks to
by
the
itself.
sale of advanced technology by former President Ensano, who created
Uncovered that stretches well beyond Lightbringer, and it's all thanks to the TV board and a very curious user.
Now, this is the major why I keep going ahead, because you want the juicy stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
The TV board on 4chan is dedicated towards discussing television and films, and occasionally they'll delve into online content and the creators behind it. One evening a while back, and it was no different really than any other evening, they happened to be discussing an Indiegogo campaign and its successful funding for a movie that an online content creator was going to be making. That content creator was Linkara. The discussion itself was fairly on point, talking about what they thought the film was going to be when it was finished, how much money was going to be dedicated towards it, how good that final product, that end product, was actually going to be. That is, until one person happened to post this. I remember years ago, I found a video on YouTube of Linkara before he became Linkara. It was uploaded in 2005 or 2006. He was as skinny as a rail and his brother was in it. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I lost the link to the video a long time ago and haven't been able to find it since. A short while later, a response is posted. And from that response, the hunt was on, so to speak. Try to find the video through Google. Find out that Linkara posted in a shemale porn forum back in 2005. Holy shit, Linkara had a thing for women with dicks long before he dated Iron Liz. Once that information was out there, thread after thread after thread was created, all with the purpose of discussing what they could find. And what they uncovered were a multitude of accounts on numerous sites, all linked back to his Lightbringer comic, or information posted in relation to that. One such account was this. We're looking at a screen cap of the favorites that were listed in the account profile. I'll read through some of them and you can see if you can figure out exactly what we're discussing. Hermaphrodite. A surprise awaits a bar patron. Necro Submission Transmitter. He controls his sister, mother, neighbor, and a stranger. Mama's Cock Chapter 8. 18-year-old Wesley finally begins to please his busty mother. But I don't want you to think that this is just confined to the stories posted on this website that Linkara had an interest in. No, he very much enjoyed communicating with the other forum members and discussing his interests in great graphic detail. Online fun with she-males. Hey is all. I'd love to have some online fun with some she-males, herms, etc. My profile gives you a basic idea of what I look like. You can inquire in this thread, over PMs, or in an email. While I'd love to have some real-life fun, sadly, I don't have the convenience of meeting people, and I'm saving myself for my true love, whomever that may be. So reply in any way you can. Enters the room and sits down in a nearby chair. Well, I'm bi, and I'll wait my turn either to give or receive. In response to Jenny Jackson's
Do you think we were going to go down this rabbit hole?
No, I did not. See that this was going this way.
When this came out, I didn't either. It gets worse.
post of, I'm sorry, but unless you're a total
Don't get me wrong. Out of everybody, he hasn't done the worst stuff. It's the most shocking, though.
nasty slut, you can't apply. Oh yeah? I'm a nasty cock slut, Jenny. I can apply as I wish. Perhaps one of the great
This is the same guy that sounds like this, Linkara.
Latest post, and one that was screen capped because immediately after this information began to kind of spread across the internet, Lewis found out, and he immediately shut everything down, closing account after account after account in a desperate bid to damage control this. Nevertheless, we still have this gem. Teacher gets taught a lesson by bad babysitter. Tyrone Lincoln, resident bad boy of the school, an 18-year-old football star, and one of the few black kids in the school. Mr. Popularity. Well, she was tired of his antics, and she was here to make sure he wasn't going to just try to slide by on his football prowess. You stick it, bitch. He grinned and pushed his massive black as he felt his teacher's hands massaging his He reached down and continued to loving how firm and full they felt behind the blouse. His hands began ripping off the blouse, open bitch, when he was done with her mouth. I love it when you white bitches know what I love. Tyrone laughed as she he gave a few ample getting a feel for as he looked down at his teacher. He's limited to a Linkara forum or forums like that. He also had other accounts under that exact same username on sites like Hentai Foundry. Now, sadly, once Lewis found out that this information was out there, he deleted as much as he possibly could. However, there do exist a few tweets talking about the content, which he favorited and liked right as it was still available before he had a chance to get in there and remove it. Things Linkara jerked off to. The green M&M. Source please? Wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Feast your eyes. Not safe for work, obviously, or anything for that matter. What the fuck? Now that's a combination of tags that you probably aren't used to seeing listed together in relation to porn. What an incredible way to kill childhood memories. Of course, once the momentum had built up, it just kept going. As fast as Linkara could delete or update profiles to remove the information about himself, people would find even older accounts, like mm.org, which clearly lists his email addresses on the profile so that you know that it's him. And unlike Literotica, on mm.org he had over 7,000 posts, dating all the way back to 2001. Post your damn beauty contest pics, or die. Actually, Oni-chan pulls himself out of a book titled Bylaws Concerning MediaMinor.org Marriage Policies Wearing Library Glasses. According to Article 10 of the bylaws, a kitty slave is allowed to marry as many partners as she desires, as long as she continues to serve and please each person she marries. So in fact, you're not really cheating on Rini-chan. Now everybody, stop worrying about Oni-chan's pics. Or to quote Eric Cartman, I'm gonna kick you in the nuts. Size, stripping circus. Lol, the
I mean, this is all bad. It's not good for his reputation. But it is not as bad as anything that we have covered in the past.
Yes, I know, but it's how it came out.
Yeah, right.
And I freeze framed it where he had like any benefit of the doubt. Oh, this can't be real for Linkara. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Old boys right there. Done. Move on with our lives.
I mean,
I kind of knew he was a little hanky-panky because when he was on one of the anniversary things, because like I said, I barely watched Linkara. I watched the Cinema Snob and the Nostalgia Critic sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But when they had the anniversary special, I think the second one, there's a girl named Iron Liz, and you knew that wasn't a girl. Oh. That was a dude. And that was Linkara's girlfriend. And she even came out and said, I was a dude at the time too. I didn't have the surgery. Linkara ain't bi, he's gay. So
his response to
I cut that part out for you too.
That you can actually click on Quick Killer to see what he was asking about, and what he's asking about is a screen cap of the Ryusu username from Literotica.
It's not that easy being green.
The dead Muppet gangbang.
So how to go about summarizing this?
Oh, man.
Well, I think the direct approach is probably the best one in this case.
Yep.
Linkara is a prime example of the content creator online who envisions themselves as being able to enter a field they have an interest in and find success there. However, once the reality sets in that they're not up to par, that they don't have the skills or the abilities necessary to be successful within that sphere, they fall back on criticizing the medium they were so in love with. And there are numerous reasons for it. It allows them to stay in touch with the medium they love. It allows them to lash out at the one thing that seemingly led to their rejection. And so we see the creator turned critic. Now again, this is in reverse to what happened to Doug and Noah, who were first established online and then tried to explore their passions and didn't really find the success they were hoping to. Linkara started out trying to find his passion and failing at it, and then going into critiquing things as a fallback from that. And he found success doing it. He was able to establish a name in a series that people know and like and follow and watch. Linkara is also a prime example of why you should always make sure to erase your history, especially when you're younger.
Yeah, I mean,
Years
you
and the
should
adult
not.
years will bite you in the ass later down the road.
You should not just
and
do
if you're
this
not
stuff.
Careful, you'll go from being
You know
the
what I'm
guy
saying?
that does really
You just
amazing comic book reviews
leave it
to the
alone.
guy that wants to get fucked in the
And-
ass by a green M&M at a
And
dead
don't
gay
do
Muppet
this.
gangbang.
Just don't do it.
Yeah, it seems like
I mean, just don't do it.
So that's Linkara.
No.
I made sure not to show so much of Linkara too, because of you know, I don't want them to say, like, just so happens if you saw this, oh, why you used my intellectual property. I didn't. I didn't show any of Top Fourth Wall.
That's fair.
So yeah.
Ish. I guess. We'll see what happens.
Also,
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Like Angry Joe, Linkara. I don't know about this time. I know a couple of years ago, he was still making Top Fourth Wall. He was still putting out products, like content, which, I mean, you got to give him credit. He was doing that.
Yeah, I mean, he's still around. That's crazy. Like
Spoonie One, he got so much money, and like that Patreon goal of making a movie, he reached it and he just stopped doing content because he's working on the movie and he never did. That never happened to Linkara, so at least he has a good work ethic. It's just that, man, your browser history, bro. You need to.
I mean,
bad.
It's degenerate behavior.
Yeah, and that's why Linkara, you're a part of it. I mean, there you go.
All right, guys, be sure to go check out our Banana Bear Show on YouTube and like, subscribe, leave a comment. What do you think about TGWTG?
It's Linkara, just Linkara.
Or Linkara, whatever you want to call it.
The TGWGT is that guy with the glasses.
I know. It was there, though, so I just said it.
Oh.
And we'll see you next video. Bye.